Tell. Cockerel, he's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell. Cockerel, leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The predictions leak, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around, always talking Spurs, wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The predictions league, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chill, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? And Jose, most importantly, what's up with you, my friend?
It's late. It's late. I'm fine. Nice to see you. As I said, I didn't see you until you came on backstage, and I've noticed that I've got a younger looking Colin since I last saw you. A very, very much younger looking Colin. Bit of colour in you. You got colour in you, but you're very, very young looking Colin.
What age would you put me at if you had to guess?
26.
All right, I'll take it.
26.
I was glad you didn't say like 13 or 14.
No, you look very, very young. As I saw you backstage, you can notice with the beard, and I've not seen you for a while. So yeah, a very young looking Colin indeed.
Well, hey, like I said, at least I don't look 13. That's my fears. I look like an actual child. But no, yeah, man, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Look, we've already got tons of people in the chat.
Which is quite surprising because everyone and their dog is on tonight. You can only pick your times for shows, obviously, because you're in America and I'm here in England. So it had to be something that worked for us both today. And we've put it later and later because diehards were on tonight. So we've put it later and later, but any later and I would not wake up for work tomorrow morning.
Well, I appreciate you making time for me and for everybody else, man. This is it's been a while, so it's good to get back on the horse and to be doing it with my favorite co-host ever, you. So I appreciate
Thank
you, man.
you. Very kind of you. Kind words.
Oh, hold on. I think I'm having audio problems, but in the meantime, let's say hi to some people in the chat. We've got Leo from Mile High Hotspur in the house. What is up, Leo? He says, "Hope you're doing well, homies." Of course, man, doing great. We got Quez in the house. What's up, Quez? Good to have you, Quez. Queen Ellie's here. Hey, Ellie, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Henry's in the house. What's up, Henry? Says free Morgan Gibbs-White. Absolutely, man. That's going to be a topic of discussion tonight for sure. Ian's in the house. Ian Meth, what's up, good buddy? Hope you're good, man. Traveling the world, no doubt. Jess, JSY, talks football. What's up, Jess? Hope you're good.
Evening, Jess.
And then free Morgan Gibbs-White again. Let's get that going. I'm sure it's already doing the rounds online.
Good afternoon, Nick.
Nick, Roundtable Talk. Then we got Daniel. What's up, Daniel? Looks like a different person without the beard. Yeah, I miss it. It'll be back, though. Give me 2 weeks.
Small downs, Dan. Small downs.
Small downs. Ellie, yes, good to see you, my friend. Who's the bald chin guy? I don't know, man. Some weirdo, that's for sure. Don't trust him. Don't trust anything he says. But yeah, that is the chat for now. Big up, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I haven't said big up since I streamed last. I only say it to you guys. This is the only time it's part of my vocab.
And I don't say it.
You don't say it? Not even in real life?
No. I don't speak American. What's wrong with you?
I never knew if big up was an American thing because I hadn't heard it.
It's an American thing, and we've got a lot of you. We've got a lot of you in our country because everyone in our country seems to say them words. I don't say them words. I say good afternoon, good evening.
If we get to 50 likes during the show, will you say big up?
Yeah, but we ain't getting 50 likes.
Well, you guys heard it. If you guys get us to 50 likes, Jose will say big up. And you know what? Since we're streaming on both channels, which I should tell everybody, we're streaming on both channels today, LTEL and Talking Ball. So if you could smash a like on both, we'd appreciate it. But for this exercise, we'll add them both together. And if we get 50 that way, we'll see if Jose will go for that. Whoa, look, Johnny Fitz is in the house. What's up, John?
Good evening, John.
Buddy.
Hope you're well, sir.
Nick says never trust a ginger with a bald chin. Uh-oh. And then look at this. Daniel says he's been saying big up since the early 2000s. So, it's been around longer than I thought. Well, big up, everybody. Sincerely from me to all of you. But yeah, I want to get just straight into the action, Jose. Let's just get straight into Spurs talk.
Hold on. You look. Quez has said he's going to start making more accounts.
Hell yes. Yeah, I was going to say it'll be good, and we'll need somebody to clip it. Look at this. Nick says that it's not American. It ain't American.
Well, it started off out there, and then look, she's Jose speaks London.
proper London geezer over here. Yeah, if you guys have been watching the news, I don't know. Should we start with everyone and their brother has been talking about Morgan Gibbs-White, and I want to for sure. We'll definitely get to that. But you guys, we've made a signing, and there's only been one signing, and I know that I guess there's been more than one. Jesus Christ. We got what's the name of the young Japanese?
In real terms, there's been more because in real terms we signed Kevin Danso.
Yeah, of course.
Matthias Tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Katai, or whatever his name is, the Japanese centre half.
Yep.
And Mohamed Kudus.
Mohamed Kudus is exactly who I would like to talk about. I remember that's a player that I think you mentioned way back. Yeah, absolutely. See, I knew I remembered that. So, yeah, like I said, we'll get to the Morgan Gibbs-White stuff. Absolutely. But I thought before that we could talk about some like strictly positive stuff for the time being. So, yeah, Kudus is here, and he seems happy to be here. You look at all the interviews and stuff like that, and he says only Tottenham. It was only ever Tottenham. I've got Tottenham in my heart. Did you see that whenever he was doing his medical? That was cool. So yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's a player I've heard you talk a lot about, Jose, and I just want to talk about kind of what he brings to the team and what we can expect from him, and maybe what some of the qualities that made you excited about him prior to the transfer.
So for me, just to put it into context, the reason and the reason why you've heard me mention his name before is when we were streaming together, I don't know, over a year ago, I said the story about Sonny prior to the World Cup in Qatar when he had that mask, and they played the World Cup in November, December time, wasn't it, that year? And for me, the summer before the World Cup that year, so it's back in 2022, I felt that Sonny had already dropped down levels. He wasn't playing the same as what he had been. I felt that at the time, it was either Kane or it was Sonny, and that we could cash in on Sonny at the time. And with the money, I think at the time, Klopp at Liverpool was an admirer of Son, and so were the Saudis. This is when the Saudis started brewing, first started brewing, and there was talk about three-figure. So I'm calling it three-figure, a nine-figure sum, so 100 million. So they were tatting about 100 million, and I wasn't greedy. I turned around and I said, if we get 70 million for him at the time, so bear in mind this is 3 years ago, I said, if we get 70 million for Sonny and we let him go, and I got lamented for this, I turned around and said that I would then invest the money in Manuel Ugarte, who was at Sporting Lisbon at the time, so central holding midfielder, who's now at Man United, and Mohamed Kudus, who was at Ajax at the time. I said, with the 70 million you get for Sonny, you can go out and get those two players at the time. And so for me, Mohamed Kudus, I've been wanting him for about 3 years. Obviously, he went to West Ham. And when you're saying what does Kudus bring, I'm going to repeat, because I've not streamed with you, Colin, so you haven't heard what I've said about this. You don't know what my point was. So my viewpoint on this is, for me, Mohamed Kudus, I think he's an excellent player. He can go in, he can go out, he can drive. So he attacks players. He scares the life. I mean, people say that people don't like pace, and this guy's got it in abundance. But he's not only got that; he's got the trickery as well. As I said, he can go in and out of players. And for me, the first season he had at West Ham, I think he done well. The first season he was acclimatising to the Premiership, and I think he did well. Last year, however, I think with the way Lopetegui played him, and the way that Graham Potter played him, and also what I said is that for me, Kudus is too sharp for the players at West Ham. So in that sense, what I'm saying is Kudus thinks 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps ahead of the other players in that team. So he wants to do something and he's waiting for something to happen, and people are not on his wavelength because he's a lot sharper than them. The only players I think were on his wavelength last season were Jared Bowen and Paquetá. I think the rest of the West Ham players were just not too. Their brain didn't tick as quickly as what Kudus does. And then all of a sudden, I found that Kudus last year, watching him play, he was trying to do too much, if that makes sense. He was trying to carry the team and do too much. And that brought his own downfall. He did it for the right reasons in my eyes, but then it made his playing was affected by it because he was just trying to carry the team on his own. And you could see that when we beat them 4-1 and he tried to take on the whole team, not only at football, but in fisticuffs as well. So that's when he got sent off, didn't he, against us? We beat him 4-1. So, and that's because he was trying to carry the team all on his own. I think he's a great acquisition for us. But we're only talking about him at the moment. So yeah, I think he's a great acquisition for us. I think he can go on to become. If people were excited by players like Ginola, Aaron Lennon, Gareth Bale, and I'm talking players that are playing wide here. So, say someone like Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale was brought in as a left back, played left wing, frightened the hell out of everyone. This guy can frighten everyone. There's no getting away from it. Kudus can frighten anyone and everyone. So but all you need is that with Kudus, you need players around him that are going to be on the same wavelength. So he doesn't fall into the trap that he did last season. So this is when
I'm trying to do it all himself, you mean?
yeah. So this is when we need to look at ourselves and say, do we have better players than West Ham? Because if we've got better players than West Ham that are on the wavelength that this kid's on, then we won't fall far short. And my answer to that is, yeah, we do have better players than West Ham, but, and I'm sure we'll come to this later, because already, I think John Fitz has already mentioned something there when he's put down exciting times at Spurs, new investment, and that's the important thing, is that when Tottenham went out and bought this player last Thursday, or we got the here we go last Thursday, then we did get a here we go the following day, which we're going to talk about. But that's two big signings, like in 24 hours. And
right. Yeah, it's something I didn't expect that at all. I would have never expected it.
So
I'm sure a lot of other fans are like me.
Let me ask you then, right? So how were you last week? Because I've not spoken to you. So people, you're watching us live now. I have not spoken to Colin about football. So we just agreed to do this show, but because of work and what we do, being the other side of the world and that, we've not had a chat before this show. So I can now ask you, Colin, going back to last Thursday and Friday, what were your feelings? What were your thoughts? Obviously, it starts with Kudos because Kudos was signed. What were your thoughts about it?
I mean, yeah, I was absolutely thrilled with the Kudos signing. And, I'll be the first to tell you, I mean, obviously we saw him play against us. I'm not a huge West Ham fan, and I don't watch a ton of them. But I did know that he was an exciting player. And, of course we get signed, somebody signs or even is linked and, you check out the highlight videos, you see what you can expect. And yeah, I was thrilled with that signing, especially because, I don't know, it seemed like a player that, I'll be totally honest, it seems like a player that in the past we might not have gone for. He seems to maybe have, I don't want to say attitude problems exactly, but he's not exactly like a super nice dude on the pitch from what I've seen. Again, it's a limited, a limited number of matches and stuff I've seen him play in, but he seems to have kind of an attitude, and I really like that. I kind of like that he looks to be kind of a jerk. He kind of has a lot of fire, and yeah, I was excited. And just the fact that we went for a player like that instead of our typical, like, let's go for the nice guy approach was exciting. And so I thought that was great. And then, it seemed like transfer after transfer, like you said, less than 24 hours or 24 hours later, we had the news that we had triggered the release clause for Morgan Gibbs-White. And yeah, it seemed like something was changing at the club. I didn't know at that time that there was new investment. I didn't know, but it seemed like something was going on behind the scenes because it was super out of character. And also we activated a player's release clause like that. I'm trying to think of the last time I remember that happening, because normally, that's not really the way that Daniel Levy does things. So yeah, I was excited, man. I thought for sure that we might now be actually trying to build on the back of that, that Europa League win, and to actually kick on from there and go further, instead of just, because when we signed Thomas Frank as our manager, I wasn't exactly excited by it. I love Tottenham. I love the club. I'm always excited for anything, and I think change is a good thing. So it wasn't like I was super upset about, losing Ange. It is what it is. Managers come and go, unfortunately. But Thomas Frank seemed like kind of a safe option. Seemed like a guy that could overperform with what he's given, and so I thought that maybe that's why he was brought in, because he would overperform. And yeah, and maybe be given a smaller budget was my fear. But instead, those two signings themselves right there, assuming that Morgan Gibbs-White goes through, it's great. It's a clear sign of intent to me that something's going on. So
see,
there's the long-winded answer.
Yeah, the one thing, I mean, we'll talk about what John's mentioned earlier about the investment side of it after, because you've obviously got a flow for the show. But it's nice to see what you think about, what you thought about Kudos, because obviously I haven't spoken to you. Evening, James. I hope you're well, sir.
Yeah. No. Let's screw the flow of the show. I don't really care about that. What were you? So when you asked that question, what were you building up to? Like, did you have a?
No.
About last week.
You're asking me about Kudos, and because I haven't spoken to you, I'm asking what did you think of Kudos? Because
oh yeah,
what are your thoughts? Because this happened last Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. He seemed like a player that's going to be immediately impacting our starting 11. You know, immediately seeing the pitch. It's not a player for the future to me. It's a player for now, and that's exciting. I'm sure everyone would agree that's an exciting thing to have players for right now versus, oh, you know, this guy's a talent. He's going to be potentially good in 2 or 3 seasons. You know, this is an immediate, like, for right now type of signing, which is always exciting, man. Yeah, that's how I felt and how I still feel. And the fact that he's come out so positively about Tottenham and wanting to be here, yeah, ticks all the boxes for me, definitely. So, but yeah. So
for me, I'm gonna.
I guess
if I go back a step, right?
Yeah.
A debt of gratitude needs to be given to Ange Postecoglou, because Ange Postecoglou has laid the foundations for what comes next. I always felt at the time, and I said this many a time, that Ange was the man before the man, so to speak.
You did say that. Yeah.
Ange was coming in, and Ange was coming in to change the way, the culture, and stuff like that, and the way that we play. And he was brought in, whether we like it, project or not. But people don't like using the word project. He was brought in on a project to do exactly what he did. I don't know whether the trophy was on the agenda, but he did what he was told to do. Bring in youngsters, change up the squad, change up the culture, change up people's thoughts on the way they perceive the club, and get people out of the mindset of this is us and boo hoo, blah blah blah. So he's come and done that, and now that he's done, he served his purpose for the 2 years that he was with us, and got a Europa League trophy. He's left the club and handed over the club in good hands to Thomas Frank. And Thomas Frank had the grace in his opening interview when he came to the club. Thomas Frank name-checked Ange and said exactly what I'm saying now. He laid the foundations for what we're now going to go and see going forward. Now, obviously, with a new manager, Thomas Frank, you're going to have a budget. And the budget was always going to be different to what Ange had got, because the investment wasn't. If the investment is there, which something's got to be there, because you're not splashing 115 million on 2 players in 2 days, and then also supposedly looking for X, Y, and Z to come in as well. There is got to be something's cooking in the background. And the thing is, we've not even heard about Paratici yet, because Paratici still hasn't signed for Tottenham. So there's a lot going on at Tottenham that hasn't been announced as yet. And
yeah, none of these signings we've gotten seem like Paratici signings to me. And I mean, obviously he's not here, but they're not the type of players that I don't think we would have gone for had he been here.
Do you think so? I think Kudos. I think Kudos could have been. I mean, I'm not going to say that he should take any credit, but I don't think Kudos would be far from Paratici's lips. Someone like Mohamed Kudos. I'm not sure about Morgan Gibbs-White. That could have been, one. But who knows? We might have been.
It's hard to say. That's for sure.
We might have been monitoring or tracking Gibbs-White for a couple of years. You know what I mean?
That's the story too, and that Thomas Frank himself too was really keen on acquiring him to play in his team, regardless of whether it was here or Brentford. Obviously, I don't think he would have made the move to Brentford, but you know what I'm saying. He had been a fan of him for quite a while. So
yeah.
For what it's worth.
Can I just answer Daniel? Daniel says here. I understand that, Jose, but let's be real as well. He was 90 minutes away from also leaving a broken foundation. Dan, you're a footballist. You know about football, mate. I can say the same about Sir Alex Ferguson. They were 90 minutes away from being nothing. They score and win 1-0 in the FA Cup. Mark Robbins, I think, scored the winner in the FA Cup. They win 1-0. What happened after that? After that, Man United took flight. And that's when their glory years started, straight after that. So the same can be said for Man United. 90 minutes away from catastrophe, because they'd been poor for 3 or 4 years. Ferguson didn't win nothing when he first went there. It took him 3 to 4 years to do it, to get that first trophy, and then they took flight. So at the end of the day, I've got to give props to Postecoglou. It's not just about winning the Europa League, although he's going to be remembered for that. I remember him coming in, right, and having to change the culture of the club. when he came in. Look at the players that we had, when he came in. Were they winners? Do you know what I mean? The answer's there for itself. I just
but
felt.
had we not won, and again, I don't want to make this a whole show about the past or something, but had we not won the Europa League, would you still have considered it a job done in the changing of the culture category?
Because we got rid of, in the 2 years that Postecoglou was there, trophy aside, not thinking about trophy, a lot changed at Tottenham in 2 years that he was there.
Oh,
So
I'd agree. Yeah,
at
I
the
was
end
just
of
kind
the
of
at the end
asking
of the
devil's
day,
advocate, sort of.
at the end of the day, like I said many a time, I used to say that he was a man before the man. It just so happens that the dominoes or the chips, however you want to talk about it, the Americans might say the chips, the West Indians will say the dominoes. They're all falling into place now, supposedly, with all this investment and all these things happening. Now, if you look at someone like Thomas Frank, great coach, well renowned as a great coach in that, but this shows you that when he was at Brentford and they were looking for players, they were going and buying unknowns from wherever and then making them to what they are. His first few signings, 35 million on Matthias Tell. When did Brentford ever spend 35 million on players before? They might have spent it on the centre forward they bought in Igor, and I can't remember how much he was bought in for, but 35 million, and that's just Matthias Tell. 55 on Kudos. They're looking to lay at least 60 on Morgan Gibbs-White. This is not the kind of money and the transfer dealings that Thomas Frank would have been used to at Brentford. So here at Tottenham, he's been given a better chance with Premiership proven players that he's getting in, and he's been given an opportunity. So, at the end of the day, we all turn around and say the one thing as Tottenham supporters, we all turn around and say is different day, same shit. We all say that because any manager that comes in doesn't get backed, and they're just on a hiding to nothing. Now, we all say that, but we can't say that Thomas Frank is on a hiding to nothing, because Thomas Frank, at the moment, the intent seems to be there to give him tools for the job.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, 100%. Something's going on. And it must be cool to be Thomas Frank and suddenly go from having to shop at, I don't know, let's say, I don't have a good analogy, but having to shop in the bargain bin, so to speak, to then having, I don't know, to shop wherever you want, to have the freedom to kind of go for those bigger name players. It must be a cool feeling. Obviously, I think there's more pressure along with it now. If a player flops, it's a bigger deal. You would think here than at Brentford, where the transfer fees weren't nearly as high. But again, you have to think also relative to the budget he's got to spend, it's probably somewhat similar. The players we're getting now compared to the the overall budget. But yeah, exciting times for sure. And Nick says, I've heard from more than one ITK that there were shocking things going on behind the scenes at Tottenham. Ange alluded to it several times. I think something changed that needed to be changed. What's your thoughts there, Jose? Something, yeah. I mean, it seems like something's going on, and we might as well hit it. I think I've heard rumors about different investment. I've heard of things about like was it Saudi Arabia? There was some kind of fund that they had supposedly taken some money and invested it in Spurs, and I've also heard things about naming deals for the stadium. I just wondered if you had heard any of that.
Yeah, I've heard everything everyone else has heard, but the thing is that we all don't know. We're all speculating, all right? Nothing has been signed, sealed, and delivered, and there was a reason for doing that, because you'd be stupid to do it now, wouldn't you? Because
Absolutely,
if you do it now, then what then happens is everyone thinks Tottenham has the money. Tottenham has the money. So
every transfer suddenly goes up 15 million.
Yeah. So at the moment, I think that things have probably been have happened. So whether there's naming rights and investment, people are saying that ENIC have put in 120 to 150 million of their own capital in there. There's also people saying that 300 million has been put in by an investor. Then you've also got the deal with the naming rights. People are saying the naming rights have been done. That all amounts to a lot of money. I mean, today Man City have announced a 10-year deal with Puma, I think it is, to supply their kits for 10 years. And it's £1 billion deal. So it's
Jesus Christ.
100 million a season over 10 years. That's a £1 billion deal. So now at the
Wild.
end of the day, you're right to keep your powder dry, and yeah, they have to declare it. If a company's house, and you have to declare this on your books. But I think the declaration may come in when the transfer window closes. So you do your business now,
Interesting.
and then it comes in when it closes, because otherwise people will know how much money you got and what you got to do with it. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I guess we'll address the elephant in the room. Time to go for it. Forest and their threatening of legal action, against Spurs for the Morgan Gibbs-White deal. I'm not sure if it's moved past or progressed past just threatening to actually happening yet. I can't really find any concrete info on that. Last time I looked, at least when I set this all up. So I'm not sure if things have changed. It's entirely possible that they have since then. But last time I looked, they were threatening legal action. It's all I've heard about for the past couple of days. Same with you. Same with everybody watching. All I've seen on other channels has been regarding this. But I also thought that we would be remiss not to talk about it. So lots of stuff comes to mind with me. First of all, I went ahead and I delved into the owner of Nottingham Forest a bit. Read some crazy stories the other day. This guy is absolutely crazy. Like this dude is a lunatic gangster, like billionaire. I guess is really the only way to put it. This guy's got political power behind him. He's got more money than I could fathom. Really, he's got mafia connections. I mean, this is a crazy dude. I'm not really sure if Forest is the only team he owns currently. I know that he's owned a couple teams in the past. But yeah, I mean, wild guy. I think him versus Joe Lewis, and then Daniel Levy by extension. I think it's going to be a good battle. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, what was your? I'll change it to this banner. What was your first reaction, when you heard that all of this kicked off, Jose?
In all honesty, today is, well, for me, it's Tuesday. It's nearly coming into 25 minutes short, going into Wednesday, early hours of Wednesday. On Saturday, when I did my members show, I was absolutely gassed. And talking about exactly how we're talking now. Tottenham have done 2 deals in 24 hours, or 2 here we goes in 24 hours. So you got the Mohamed Kudus on Wednesday, I believe it was announced, and then Morgan Gibbs-White was here we go on Thursday, and Friday we'd have his medical, and then all of a sudden Friday the spanner was thrown into work, saying he's not signing. They think there's been tapping up or whatever they've been accusing people of. And in all honesty, on Saturday when I did my show, I probably said something along the lines of, "It will happen. It's just a delay. It will probably happen." When there was a poll at the weekend, I think it might have been on Twitter, it said, "When does the signing get done? If it gets done, when does it get done?" And I actually voted for it gets done by Wednesday. Wednesday's tomorrow, right?
Clock is ticking. Yeah.
And to me, I mean, I'll sit here now, and I've heard arguments for and against. I've heard a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people talking about this situation, and to be quite honest, I am absolutely. I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever what's going to happen. I thought that this would still be done. It'd be a done deal. But now looking at it, so the breaking news 6 hours ago was Nottingham Forest have now written to Tottenham Hotspur and to Morgan Gibbs-White's agent, putting them on legal notice. They have warned them that they are considering legal action over what they consider is an illegal approach and breach of confidentiality. So to me, so to me at the weekend, I thought to myself, it's a matter. This happens all the time. The talking to agents. The thing for me is, right, and I'm not legally minded, Colin, but have Tottenham done anything wrong? Now, if Tottenham wanted Morgan Gibbs-White and they went and asked the agent for the conditions of a deal, and the agent said, well, do you know what? He's got a release fee clause and it's this, and you either have to bid this or you have to say that you'll bid this and you'll pay it within whatever time frame. Then that information has been given by the agent to Tottenham. Now, I've heard people legal arguments to say that if through freedom of information or through subject access requests, if you can prove that Tottenham went to the agent and said, "What are the deals? What is your player up for?" If you can find a trail, so to speak, evidence, then maybe you could be in trouble.
Right.
However,
Like if we went and solicited the information versus us just.
But there'd be evidence of it. You have to have the evidence that that's occurred. So for that, you'd have to have a text message or something in writing, an email, something tangible.
Pigeon correspondence.
Yeah, something tangible that says you've done it. So to me, I'm kind of like, I'm really, as I said, I'm not legally minded. I'd like to think the deal is still on, in the sense of whatever the release fee clause, it will be met. But there's another legal argument saying that all they're going to be doing now is posturing against each other, and what they don't want usually is they don't want any hype, or they don't want anything to get more and more out there, and therefore what you do behind the scenes is you come to a compromise, and the compromise could be that how long did Morgan Gibbs-White have left on his contract, and how much was that worth? Do you then pay the release fee
difference
and pay the difference of his contract, with some people saying it's like 8.2 million, so that would make it 68.2 million you have to pay, and then it all just goes quiet and he comes to you. There's a lot of different points of view on this, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to put my hat in the ring and say that I'm behind any of them at all, because I really don't know from a legal standing how this stands. And other than that, I don't know what the 2, 3, or 4 parties know, because we don't know what's happened. Everything for us is conjecture and hearsay at the moment. But at the end of the day, I would like him at Tottenham Hotspur. He hasn't. Yeah. He's trained with Forest both days. He trained yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they went back, so he's trained both days. He wasn't in the squad for the friendly that they played on Saturday or Sunday. They played a friendly, and he wasn't in the squad. But he's been in training. The Nottingham Forest have tried for over a year to extend his contract.
He wants nothing to do with it.
And he wanted nothing to do with it. And it appears now that what they're asking him to do is to extend his contract, so they pay him a lot more money, but then they take the release fee clause out of the contract. But at the moment, what we're hearing is he's all for Tottenham. He wants to go to Tottenham. So we want to see whether this I don't know. I'd like this to play out in our favour, that we sign him. But what I wouldn't want is any sort of comeuppance to Tottenham, and any sort of like we'll get sanctioned for something we might have done wrong, and then that then follows us into the next transfer window and the window after that and whatever. So really, you're asking me in a question, and my first reaction was, this will be done and dusted, if not the weekend, worst case scenario by Wednesday. And here we are. It's 20 to midnight here in England, and Wednesday's tomorrow morning, and I'm just like, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, I thought it would be a quick one too. Yeah, a lot of things kind of crosses my mind, but you would think that with our chairman, who seems especially careful of things, he kind of was especially careful with our spending recently, and making sure that we were on the right side of all that. With somebody who's just so careful about things and so risk averse, it seems like it would really surprise me if he had made a blunder and had broken the law here. And I don't know. I would be really surprised by that. And I can remember back in the not too distant past, whenever tapping up was a big deal, whenever you'd hear about it, and I think it was during the Gareth Bale transfer, maybe that everyone was all up in arms about tapping up, and about how we were accusing Madrid of having done that, and I'm not sure if it was the club so much as just fans and people online, but people were really upset about it. But nowadays, you don't really hear anything about tapping up. It seems like it's constantly going on.
So you had a radio program. You got TalkSport over here. You heard of TalkSport, and they had Simon Jordan and a couple of others on there, and all of them turned around and said individually. Martin O'Neill, ex-football manager, they all turned around individually. I can't remember if it's the same show or they were on the same show. They all turned around individually, and they've all said, "Forget about tapping up. Is a part and parcel of the game. It happens everywhere, all the time." The one thing I will say, the outlier that I will say is, I can't remember exactly what happened with Virgil van Dijk, but he was playing for Southampton, and I think Liverpool were accused of tapping him up. And what Liverpool then did is they walked away in the summer because they were accused of being tapping up. They walked away in the summer, let it go dead, and then they went and bought him in the winter transfer window. So that's but is that something that Tottenham want to do? Because I don't think Van Dijk. I can't remember anything because I'm not a Liverpool supporter. I don't know whether Van Dijk kicked up a fuss and put in a transfer request and said he wanted to leave and that, or whether he sat quiet and then they just waited till the winter transfer window, and that's when Liverpool came in and got him.
The danger with this is that this player becomes so much more expensive. We can't let this deal sit and hopefully get him later, because other clubs, I think, would come in and would pay more than us. I think there's teams that would pay more than 60 for him. And so I think that if, Manchester City, from what I've heard, the rumors are that they, were inquiring about him, and were told that it would take like 100 million to get him, which I think is crazy that they could have been told that by the club while he had a 60 million release clause, or
but the thing
maybe
is,
the release clause hadn't taken effect yet.
That's right. That's the part. That's the nail on the head. The release clause. It's because what Forest are arguing is that Tottenham have come in on the day. So apparently that release clause was as from whenever the day that Tottenham went in for it, and they got the package exactly right on the day that it comes through. This supposedly on the day that it comes through and it enacts itself, the right money, and you gave the right payment terms.
You would think that we would be smarter than that if we thought that it was going to be a problem. Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard for me to believe that we would have made such a big error in this.
But like I said, deal. There's a lot of strings to this bow, right? It's if they can find evidence, and that's the hard part. If there's no trail, right, and we know what Levy's like with his lawyers and stuff like that, right? But then apparently, from listening to Ian, because Ian Meth is a good friend of ours, he was an employment lawyer. And he said that the chairman or whoever at Forest, not Marinakis, but the chairman at Forest, or whoever it is at Forest, the CEO, or whoever it may be at Forest, he is a QC in commercial law or something. So obviously he'd be advising Forest. So it's one of them. We'll have to wait and see how it pans out. You've got Eddie saying he's a billionaire and owned many clubs. He's so arrogant. Quez is saying, as a certified OTK DNS,
it's going to be ITK? I don't know.
I don't know. I can confirm Gibbs-White will be completed. Kudos and Gibbs-White will butt heads because only one can win the Ballon d'Or and one will settle for runner-up. Ryan is reminding us that he also owns Forest, Olympiacos, and Rio Ave are the clubs that he owns. Right, Daniel says, the only reason he was able to own Forest in the first place was because he would not have been able to pass the fit and persons test through Premier League. That's why he bought Forest in the Championship.
That makes sense. Yeah, the dude is an absolute criminal, like scumbag, big time. But
D, good evening, D. Welcome. He says,
as a sorry for saying such mean things about your chairman.
Says,
sorry, D.
As a Forest fan, I'm embarrassed by a chairman. Let him go and move forward.
Big up, D.
Daniel says that the Football League fit and persons is easiest to pass in the Football League than the Premier League.
I believe it.
Ellie says that Spurs Forest matches are going to be very interesting, to say the least, if the transfer of Moore and Gibbs-White goes through or not.
Either way, there's for sure.
Dan says, I like Forest before this, but I'll be real. I've lost all respect for them and as a football club, and I feel it's amateur out over at Forest. Um, Ryan saying Nottingham Forest fans are more salty than when he left Wolves, his boyhood club. Nick's telling us that that's what he does. He's a fixer. He then says, "Oops, they both get the same amount of goals and assists, and they share the golden boot as well." There
I
we
love
go.
it. Sign me up for that future timeline, please.
Romanchu's here. Not seen Romanchu in a while. I hope you are well, sir. He says we should send Solanke to Forest training ground while we do Gibbs-White medical and contracts.
People say they look alike, so he's saying just send him over there so they think he's still there.
The fact that Forest are trying to put a bad name on Tottenham Hotspur, one of the most business-savvy clubs when it comes to transfer deals. I'm sorry, Forest fans, you picked the wrong club to mess with.
I feel bad for Forest fans because they can't choose who their chairman is or owner is or whatever. You know, like this guy, I don't know. I just feel like it's a bad look unless I'm wrong and he's right, and then it's a bad look on us. You know, it's hard to say at this juncture. But
says if the fella says it's strange, Spurs bid exactly the right amount, that isn't a rule break. No, they did it on the day that it all came about. So, Romano's always personal terms already agreed. You think they always ask permission first? Hell no.
exactly, man. Exactly.
Good evening, Chris. Saying evening.
What
Colin
up, Chris? How's it
Good
going,
evening, Chris.
bro?
I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well.
Big up, buddy.
Yeah, I think VDV would put a transfer request in. I think VDV put a transfer request in at Southampton. But I remember Liverpool walking away, and then they came back and bought him in the winter.
Yeah, that's what it's going to take. I think it's a transfer request or something.
Yeah, if anyone broke the rules, it's the agent or someone inside Forest's roundtable. Vindaloo's here.
Yo, what's up, bro?
He says, "Big up, Jose. Checking my emails for work tomorrow, and you guys are on. You need some Vindaloo loving."
Glad you're here, bro. Glad you're here.
Certainly do. Nice to see you, Vindaloo. I think we have caught up.
Hey, nice work. Well, so
and there you go. I think you have a super chat. Yeah, it's on your channel. You have a super chat.
What a kind soul you are, Chris Peters. Love seeing Colin and Jose. Forrest have no leg to stand on, contract-wise, and only if Morgan Gibbs-White does not want to come to Spurs. Free Palestine. Big love, Chris Peters. Glad to have you here, brother. And thank you very much. You're far too kind, my man. Far too kind. Big love, dude. Big love. And I mean, I agree. I think that unless there's something really big that we're missing here, I don't really think that Forest have any legal recourse, I think, that'll keep us from getting this transfer through. I really don't. But again, maybe I'm totally wrong. And if I am, I reserve the right to change my mind later, as always. But Jose, I'll ask you in the chat, if we get him, if he comes through, do we care if we've ruffled some feathers to get him in? I mean, does that matter in the long run? Would you feel bad about it?
As supporters?
Yeah, as supporters.
As supporters, look, I spoke on Saturday about this, Colin, and I said on my show on Saturday that for us, we just want to see players come to the club. We want to see ourselves. We want to see ourselves competing with, on all fronts with other teams in all competitions. And the way to do this is by, upping what you've got, and getting a better squad out there and getting a better team out there and getting better players. And, instead of getting one a year, you need to start somewhere where you go bosh. And then after you've gone bosh, then the following transfer window, you buy one player and then another player. Because if you're buying the right squad, if you're buying the right players and you've got the right type of squad, then you don't have to add lots to it. Initially, you might do. And then you go bit by bit. Yeah. So initially, this summer, we've been crying out for many, many years, we've been crying out for investment in the team to make us competitive on all fronts. And do we care? Do we care? Like if I said to you, Colin, right, we're getting 1 billion investment from a Saudi PIF fund. Do you care?
I was talking to my wife about this exact thing yesterday, And yes and no. I mean, shamelessly, I just want us to be competitive, and if I don't know, it's a that's really hard to answer. I would care, but it's just kind of the way the world is, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Um, and I would definitely, God, I don't know, man. No, that's a good moral question that I can't answer that accurately right now. I think I would feel guilty about it, but I would take the money, I guess. Is that a good answer?
No, no, like I said, what I'm asking you is, right? What I'm asking you is that, how would you take it? If it's 100 millions, sorry, billions coming in from a PIF fund. If you said that you're having a billion coming in from, um, I can't remember who was the guy. We did a show on it, Colin, a while ago. But the American football chap who was a right nasty piece of work, and people said he was madder than Levy. Who was that? The American football owner.
I think he owns the Dallas Cowboys, but I can't remember his damn
Yeah,
name. Hold
yeah,
on.
whatever his name is. Right. So, and people were
Yeah,
going mad
him.
about, he's madder than Levy and all that. So, to me, and the reason why I ask you is because, to me, I just want Tottenham to do well. I want them to be competitive. And at the end of the day, do I really look deep into where the money's come from? No, I don't think I actually do look that deep to where it's come from. To me, I just want us to be competitive, And at the end of the day, competitive to me means you buy the best players out there. Now, obviously, we ain't shopping, supposedly. We're not shopping at uh, Harrods. You know of Harrods in England, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
We're not
I've been.
we're not shopping at Harrods. We're shopping at um we're not shopping at Harrods. We're probably shopping in Selfridges at the moment. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to say Selfridges. We're shopping at Selfridges, but Harrods is the next rung up. And we're buying Kudos and buying Morgan Gibbs-White and buying any other players that we're being linked with at the moment, because we're being linked with a hell of a host of players at the moment.
Yeah,
And
some big names
at the
too.
at the end of the day, must be happy with this type of player. Last season, we were given four youngsters and a number 9, right? Now, so far, we've been given Danso, who is, regardless, is a starter, right? He's a starter. Danso for all intents and purposes is a first team player, not a squad player. He's a first team player in his own rights. Yeah, Mohamed Kudos, first team player in his own rights. If Gibbs-White's come, he will be a first team player in his own rights. And what it ends up doing, you bring the players in who affect your first team straight away. Your starters who have been affected drop down as your substitutes, and the substitutes who weren't good enough then have to leave the club or find something else to do. Or you up your game because you want to play in the first team. So having competition is great, but going back to the question, do I honestly would not care. I don't think I'm deep rooted enough to care where the money's come from. I just want to see us being competitive, and I think what you may find is more and more people thinking like that, and maybe turning a blind eye, because we've been starved of oxygen at this club for many, many years. You can see that a lot of people will say, okay, yeah, just go ahead and put the money in and buy whoever you want. So that's where I feel we are at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think that you're right, and that a lot of other fans would feel that way too. Um, it's been a long time since we had money to spend, and I like to think I've got a moral stance and would care, but at the end of the day, I think I would just be happy that we were. There's some places I wouldn't want to take money from. I don't know. Damn, that's a good question. I got to do some soul searching tonight. Tune in next time, guys, for me to have my answer on where I won't take money from. Yikes! I didn't
See,
think
the
that was
thing
going to be so hard to answer.
but what I'm saying is that I've given you my answer, and I think more and more people have gone away from the moral compass with Tottenham, in the sense of all we want money to come into the club. We want to be dining at the top table. We want to be playing in all competitions. We want to be fighting your Liverpools, your Man Cities, your Arsenals, your Chelseas. We want to be fighting these people season in, season out. And when I mean fighting, you know what I'm talking about. Being competitive against them season in, season out. We want to be doing this. And at the end of the day, in order to do this, what do? They go out and lay the dosh on players. They go out and lay the money on players. And we need to start doing that. And we've said it for many, many, many years. We need to do that in order to compete with these other teams. And to me, I don't care who gives me the money. And I really don't. At the moment, whoever gives me the money, which means I can go and get these players, then that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to take the money. Thank you. I'm taking your money, and then I'm running with it.
So you don't care if you ruffle any feathers along the way. You just want the players.
I just want to be competitive. I'm older than you, Cole, and I've been starved of oxygen. Yeah, I've been starved of oxygen for years. 26 you are, so I'm a fair bit older than you. Yeah, so to me, I've been starved of oxygen for far too long, and I want this club to do well. And for me to do well, I don't care where the money's coming from. Just give us, let's have the money, and let's go and spend it.
I put this.
Sorry,
I put
by
this
the way,
banner up here.
I put the other banner up just so people know that we're joint streaming this. So if you could go and hit the like or subscribe to both channels to Talk and Ball. He's gone back. His name's now Talk and Ball again. So because I found you today under Talk and Ball, so he's gone back to Talk and Ball and to LTL Cockerel. So if you can hit a like on both channels. And if you haven't done so already, if you can subscribe to both channels, then that would be great. Thank you very much, peoples.
Yes, we appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for being here.
We've got to catch up with the chat because we're letting the chat go. So you've got.
Yeah. Oh no, we're getting way behind on the chat.
We are way behind. So it was after Chris Peters. You have got people that have come in. So you've got. So the Manchester's comment first is if we do get Morgan Gibbs-White, I don't see Kulu playing in midfield ever again. Though Frank can try him at right wing back. It's not about that, Romanchu. For me, it's about having a competitive 25 players that try and outdo each other to get a starting berth. And with the amount of games that we're going to have next season, we're going to have rotation. But instead of having rotation where you get the drop off, you have rotation where you stay at the top level. So for me, bring in as many great players as you can or good players as you can, and let's go, and let's challenge each other and then go from there. Right, Lord Rodney's here. Says big up everyone. Good evening, Lord Rodney. I hope you're well, sir.
Big up, Rodney.
You got me. People all talking to each other. Quez Ali said his name was Jerry Jones. That's the guy. Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones. There we've got Jerry Jones. He's just an old and senile, says Nick. He knows more about him than what I do. Archer says, good evening, Archer. I hope you're well. Says, we overpaid for Brennan Johnson. Forest should be grateful with 60 million for Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah, we did overpay for Brennan Johnson. There was some talk about us helping them with PSR stuff. I'm not sure how that went, but
Quezis says, I'm a Cowboys fan. It's awful. The dry roasted peanuts here says, hey guys, classic talk and a ball.
Oh, what is up, Mr. Peanut? We're also on LSL Cockerel. So if you could, you probably heard, but like both, please. That would be awesome.
Destiny's here. Look, second again. Ole, ole. Good evening, Destiny. I hope you're well, sir.
Destiny.
The Oracle's in the house. So he must have I hope you had a good show, Adrian.
Yeah. Hope it was good, man.
Colin Jose et al.
Good to see you, buddy.
Wow, my cousin lived in DFW and he loved it.
Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Okay. Yeah.
See, you lot know. And now you've got a few people that are. Oh, look, Quez is saying, I agree with Cole's stance. I'm conflicted. Well, I just want the best players at the club, and I want to do really, really well.
Jose says, give me blood money or anything. I don't care where it came from.
Lord Rodney says, need to see Senor Paulinha through the door. Big John, this is on my channel's 5-month membership badge saying,
flexing that member badge.
Good evening, Big John. I hope you're well. It's been a while. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you and the family are doing well.
Good to see you, buddy.
Dry roasted peanut. Who's the guy on the left? Looks like Cole, but Cole has a beard.
I regret shaving it, but it'll come back. Give me 2 weeks. I'll have a beard again. I promise.
Look at that. You got Jamie's in the house. Says, "Hey up, lad.
Whoa,
Doing well.
Jamie, good to
Good
see you,
evening,
man.
Jamie. I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well. Have we got? It's been a while." He says, "Yep, it certainly is." Ryan has said he's gone and smashed the like on both channels. Thank you very much, Ryan.
I like your new thumbnail picture, by the way, Ryan.
Talk and ball. I love it. Miss you, brother. And Jose, you too. It's nice to have you here. Nice to
Good
have
to
you. And
have you, Chris.
sorry, Chris. Happy anniversary for your 7 years, mate.
Yeah,
And
pretty close
yeah,
to mine too.
yeah. Lay off the sauce. Yeah, Collins was last week.
Yep.
Last week, 9 years for Colin married, but 15 years together.
You
So,
remembered. Good memory on you, sir.
who we got here? I'm booking World Cup tickets on Friday, says Jamie.
Dang.
Ooh.
I don't have the cheddar like that, Jamie, but one day I
Vinder's
might.
saying, sorry, Jose, sort of derailed things. Vinders, you carry on, mate. You carry on. If you can get the crowd going, you carry on, Vinders.
We love it, man. We love it.
Vinders have started people off. They're all talking to Vinders. This is brilliant. And then
stuff.
you've got, look who's just come in.
Sham
Good evening, Mr.
Tan.
Bossman Jose, and the magnificent and sorely missed junior intern Colin. I hope you're both doing well. Yes, Shemtam. We are both well. We are both here. And yeah, it's nice to see you. Colin, I've now
to have
caught
you
up
here,
with the
buddy.
chat. Carry on with what you was going to go on with.
Boom. Thanks for that, by the way. And thanks to everybody that's here. Appreciate all of you guys. And as always, please don't stop with your comments. You guys and interacting with y'all is my favorite part of the show. So thanks, everybody. I was going to ask this question, and I'm sure he is. This is kind of a silly question to ask, but is he even worth 60 mil? And then I'll kind of amend that question too. I think obviously the transfer amount's going to go up. Obviously they want more money. Supposedly we've offered some more, and they've still said no. You talked about us maybe paying out money for the remainder of his contract. So if he's worth 60 mil, how much is he worth? And at what point do we walk away from the deal? Because to me, I think he's easily worth 60, but I don't really think he's worth that much more than that. I could obviously be wrong. I'm willing to be persuaded to think otherwise, but at this point, I think of him as a 60, 65 million pound player. But
according to the people closer, the in the knows, or people that say that they're close to Tottenham, right? According to these people, right, they're saying that Tottenham are really calm about the whole situation. And if they're saying they're really calm about the whole situation, the deal ends up happening. The deal does end up happening, but like I said, if you asked me this on Saturday when I did the members show, I turned around and I said that this will happen. But in the poll that I did at the weekend on X, someone put it up on a poll on X, and I said it will be done by Wednesday. Well, we're now ticked into it's 7 minutes past midnight here, so we just ticked into Wednesday.
The final 24 hours.
So I've got if it doesn't get done, then it doesn't get done, and you have to wait and see what happens. But like I said, there's a lot of conjecture out there about it. Is he worth 60 million? If I look at the way that he plays, what is he, 24, 20, 25 now? He's an England international. He plays in a much sought after position. And then he's also, I just said, he's an England international. So you got the English tax on that as well. So 60 million, put it this way, you're saying is he worth 60 million? Well, we're coming in and meeting the supposed release fee clause of 60 mil. But there's another team up north who bid 100 million for him. So if that kind of answers the question.
I think that they were told they needed to bid 100 million or something, but still,
right, because there wasn't the release fee clause wasn't activated. Could not be activated at the time that they bid. But it just happens that the day that it becomes achievable to activate, we come in with the right date,
the right amount of money,
the right amount of money, and the right payment terms. We come in with everything right on the now. Who would have thought? Who would have thought we could have guessed that one?
It was just a really good guess. You know,
We,
it was just how we wanted to pay.
Yeah, we were chancing our arm. That's all we could do. We could only afford to do it in what we offered, and that's all
Yeah,
we've got.
exactly.
We are pleading poverty. We've got no money for signings. We need to sell to buy. You know, all that palaver that we hear season in, season out.
And remember how upset everybody was, you know, whenever that news had come out? I think that if only people could have seen into the future, and you know, obviously I think it's in the club's best interest to say that. I don't think they're ever going to come out. It would be stupid to come out at the end of a season and say, "Oh, this summer we're going to really strengthen the squad. We're going to get 5 new starting players." I wouldn't do that. But again, I'm getting away from the topic at hand. Yeah, I mean, I agree that he's worth 60, but I don't think he's worth a whole lot more than that. And again, I'd gladly be persuaded. I'll admit too that I've watched highlights of him playing, but you can only get so much from highlights. I need to actually go back and watch some full matches to see like how much he really does, you know, besides his goals and assists, you know, how much he's controlling the tempo of a match, you know, what he's contributing for an entire 90 minutes. And I guess also I wanted to ask you too, where you see him playing, you know, where if he does come. I know that he primarily, you know, he's a midfielder, obviously, but I don't know if, and I mean, no one's gonna know, but if Thomas Frank's gonna prefer to use him as a 10, as an 8, and kind of, you know, like a double pivot kind of a deal. It's hard to say. I don't know enough about Frank, about how he plays. I'm really excited for preseason to start so I can get some kind of an idea about how he's going to line up with us. You can look to how he's done it in the past, but that's not necessarily how he's going to do it here, as you and everybody else knows. So yeah, there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of unknowns. I'm excited for everything to start so I can kind of start putting this all together. But whoa, David's here.
He's saying good morning because it is the morning time for my dear cricket / baseball correspondent, Mr. Shear, down in Oz. How are you, sir? I hope you're well. And then he's flexing his 11-month member.
Dang, man, 11 months. Crazy stuff. That's a long time.
Nice to see you, David. Nice to see you. And on yours, I think it's on yours. Is it on yours? I can't see what channel it is now because I can't see what's going on.
Oh,
it's not. It's not. So it's on my channel. Chris Peters has become a new member.
Hey.
Again, so welcome, Chris, becoming a new member.
Love to Chris Peters.
What does he say? 3-0, Jose. Okay, 3-0 says David Shear. I think David Shear might be referring to what's happened is if people are not unaware about what's happening in the cricketing world at the moment, Australia are currently taking on a provincial team, and they are beating them with ease, a provincial team, where England are taking on one of the best teams in the world and leading 2-1. That's what I think.
Ooh, I sense a little bit of I sense something there. Not hostility, but
there's no hostility. Mr. Shear knows that I love him, and he knows that he's my favourite cricket / baseball correspondent. So, but sorry, I transgressed. Chris, thank you very much for becoming a new member, and also Chris has become a new member, and he's got the YAL membership.
Oh yeah,
he's done it on your channel as well. So Chris, thank you very much.
Dude, Chris Peters showing the love all over the place.
He's done it on my channel and he's done it on your channel. So thank you very much, Chris, for your support. It's very kind.
Big love, Chris.
It's a bit difficult because I have to look at both of the channels because I don't know what's coming in and what.
You got them both up. You're nailing it. I appreciate all your help with running things, man. You're doing a great job.
So what is your? So that was my answer. With is he worth 60 million? What's your answer on it then?
Yeah, I definitely think he's worth 60. I think at 60, the transfer makes a lot of sense. I'm in this weird position though, where I don't know exactly, since I don't know exactly how our midfield's going to look. I don't know how our team's going to set up. I can't really tell you how much of an absolute need he is as far as the position that he occupies. You know, I would have thought that a defensive midfielder, like a straight 6, would have been the priority, given the fact that we've got Kulu who can play as the 10. We've got Madison. I know they're both injured. But, you know, since we've got those two guys, I wouldn't have thought, and hell, even Kudus could play there. I know that it's not exactly in the same, he's maybe not as creative as those other two. But, you know, even Kudus could play there. So I would have thought that 10 wouldn't have been a position of like a desperate need. And so, but again, maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign to how we are going to line up. Maybe he's going to play. It's more of a box to box type of midfielder. Maybe he's going to play on the wing. It's impossible to tell, but I wouldn't have thought that his position would have been a position that we would have gone out and spent so much money in right now, having not filled a couple other positions first. But maybe we've got more money than I think. Maybe we are going to fill those positions. It's hard to say. But yeah, for 60, good deal. Let's do it. Let's grab him. But you get up to like 75, and then I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know about that. So 60 all day, every day. But if it gets a lot higher than that, or even much higher than that, we might have to think about walking away. It's hard to say. But Donna's here. Hello, Donna. What's going on with the club, Donna? Let us know. What?
Donna left the club.
New investment?
Donna left the club.
Oh shit.
Donna's left.
She's still got eyes and ears in there, She probably talks to Daniel on the regular, you would think. But,
You've got
yeah.
So Donna's here.
Hi, Donna. Very good to see you.
Chris Peters says, looking forward to the new season of predictions.
I saw that you also asked about Keeper West Ham, Chris. I haven't gotten one ready today. I'm slacking. Today's my day off, and I've just done a lot of nothing. But that'll be back. I can assure you of that. So we will definitely be doing that soon.
Just got to remember that when you do the music for it,
mm-hmm.
Now that you've got over 1,000 subs, you get copyrighted for that.
I do. Yeah, I'm going to have to change up the music.
You're going to have to change when you start bringing Keeper West Ham back in. You're going to have to change up the music or whatever, or change something up so you don't get copyrighted.
That's why I had you play your intro today, because mine is copyrighted.
It's interesting because we are dual streaming, but this is how great the dual streaming is. You've got Talk and Ball logo up in the top right hand corner, and you've got Eltel Cockerel as the intro and outro. That's proper dual streaming.
We're splitting it up, exactly, man. Your intro, my logo.
So Chris says, looking forward to new season predictions. Chris, so am I. You weren't around on Saturday, but I announced on Saturday that this year the predictions league that I'm going to be doing will be members only this year, because it's a lot of work and to have people in and out. So this year we're doing it as members only. So it will be a show that everyone can see, but the only people that will be able to type in or be able to make comments will be members. Although everybody,
Chris is a member now, so
he's a member now. But you've got to be a member when we start doing it. So if you're a member when we start it, then and you continue being a member, you will only be able to put in your predictions. It'll only appear in the chat because you're a member. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've had a rest, and I now know that the season starts for me again, doing these predictions, and they are going to be fire again. Destiny saying apparently Kudos in the 10 is where he wants to play.
I heard something about that. I was watching another channel today. I was watching Spurs talk show.
Yeah, Sean Butler said it,
and he mentioned that.
Yeah.
Had you heard that anyway?
Today I heard it on Sean saying it that the reason why other clubs may have walked away is because he only wanted to play 10.
So that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that he would be dying to play there, as I don't really think that. Sorry, I'm eating. That his skill set lines up perfectly for that position. But what do I know?
You've got Jamie says, do you think Tottenham win something this season?
Not the Champions League, maybe a cup. A domestic cup. I could see it. But I don't think we win the Champions League. I'd love to be wrong. Could happen. Depends on the draw, I guess. But yeah, we'll get a domestic cup. I'll put my money on that now.
There you go. Yeah, FA Cup, says Daniel. Roundtable says, anyone else's YouTube keep quitting when going to a commercial? Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's messing about.
Yeah, sorry about that, dude.
But hopefully it rectified itself for you.
Dang YouTube.
Look at that. You've got, the FA Cup for Daniel. Destiny says that we'll win the Super Cup.
Oh, shit.
Archer says he'd love it. Archer says he'd love an FA Cup.
Me too, man.
Daniel says, "Oh yeah, and the Super Cup." So it's a double. We're on for a double already, according to the crowd. and mine just goes to a black screen. Says Roundtable. Says me.
Yikes.
I'm not sure.
I'll file a complaint with my associates at YouTube. I'll get that taken care of for you, sir. Just wait. Just wait. I'll take care of it. But yeah. Speaking of the Super Cup, I hadn't really thought much about it in the past couple of days, just with all of this transfer speculation and stuff going on. But I had actually been kind of positive, feeling kind of positive about our chances. It's a one-off match. We'll have kind of a new manager bounce kind of a deal going on. And then they spanked Real Madrid. And that made me kind of a bit worried, just with the manner in which they spanked them. I watched that game. It was a pretty good game. And then they lost to Chelsea. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch that one. But yeah, they've been kind of jerking me all around, PSG. So I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about it. I always back the boys to win. Especially, just a one-off game like this. Anything can happen. But I'd love to hear everybody in the chat's thoughts and yours as well, Jose. I mean, are you confident?
See, the interesting thing for me is some of these footballers would not have had a break for 3 years. Euros last year, they wouldn't have had a so at the start of the season. Yeah, they finished the season last season and played the Euros. Yeah, then this season just gone, you play an entire season. So the season before, so 22-23, no, it would have been 23-24, would have been a season, then the Euros. Then you would have gone into 24-25, you would have played that season, and then you would have played the Club World Cup, which is just finished. And then we start this season, and you go straight into the World Cup next year. So some players wouldn't have had a rest for 3 years. So people that are involved obviously in Europe that are going to be involved in the World Cup, that were involved in the Cup Winners, the Club World Cup, wouldn't have had a 3-year break. So that you're looking at Chelsea players, Man City players, PSG, and all the other teams that played in it. So although Chelsea got they won it, and PSG reached the final, these players have got to have a 3-week break. And we play, so 3-week break for PSG players means that they come back into training 1 week before they play Tottenham. So the ways to look at this, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see what people in the chat think. But if I was looking at not only PSG, but if I was looking at Chelsea and Man City, although Chelsea didn't get as far, Man City didn't get as far. Their players, however far they got, they still have to have a 3-week break. Does it affect Man City and Chelsea players next season? And whereby I say that, does it affect them at the start of the season, or does it catch up with them further on in the season? Because they've got to take that 3-week break, but they've been playing non-stop football. And so all the European players that would have been involved in the European Championships 2 years ago, then involved in the Club World Cup now, who are then also going to be involved in the World Cup next year, that is a lot of football, 3 years without a break. Football has become so... Well, for me, football's become robotic. Everyone seems to play the same systems, the same kind of way. There's no more flair. You're not allowed to do your own thing anymore and stuff. And I keep saying this all the time. You get told where to be, where to stand, how to receive it, how to pass it, what lane to go into. They play with traffic cones now. So you're not playing against players in training anymore. You play against traffic cones. So, but even still, some of these players, it means that they've done running upon running upon training upon running for 3 years non-stop. Surely at some point they're going to suffer burnout. When do PSG suffer burnout? Start of the season. Are PSG going to put all their eggs into one basket for the Super Cup when they know they've got to defend their title in France? Which people say, yeah, but that's easy. But then if they pick up injuries and stuff like that, what's then going to happen?
I do sort of wish PSG had won against Chelsea, because now I think they're going to want to come back and show that was just a blip. That was just a one-off. We're not a losing team. I think they might be more. They might be a little more hungry maybe now than they had been had they won against Chelsea in the Club World Cup final. But speculation on my part. It's hard to say. I don't really know how seriously players take the Club World Cup, considering that's something that we don't really participate in. it's hard for me to kind of get a good feel about how important that is to players, fans. I know that it's not exactly, or maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's exactly an important competition. It's not one that you like brag about having won. Is it?
What, the Club World Cup?
Sorry?
The Club World Cup?
Yeah.
You're joking, and because Chelsea have now won it all. Chelsea have won every cup available to them. So every cup that's available to a team from any what can I say? Any confederation, right? They've won it all. So Chelsea have now won the Premiership. They've won the FA Cup. They've won the League Cup. They've won all three of the trophies. They've won the Europa. They've won the Conference. They've won the Champions League. They've now won the Club World Cup. They've won the Club World Cup, but they've also won the World Club Championship. When you play off against, you're straight into the semi-finals, and usually you end up playing a South American team in the final. So they've won that, and now they've won the Club World Cup. Chelsea are the only team on this planet that have won every trophy available to a football team from any confederation. So you're saying it's not important. I think it would have been important to the teams. Pep Guardiola, even when they got beaten, they got knocked out. Pep Guardiola said in his interview, "We came here to win the competition. We're really unhappy because we came here to win it." At the end of the day, I don't think Real Madrid were there to make up the numbers. Real Madrid wanted to win it. I think that Atletico Madrid were there to win it. Everyone that entered it wanted to win it. Well,
I guess I'm thinking of it and kind of putting it in the box of those other like preseason tournaments, like the Tiger Cup or the goofy shit that we've won in the past. Those silly like preseason tournaments that we've been in with, like random Asian teams and stuff like that. But I guess from what you're saying, and this is not in the same category as those. So, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Cool. Well,
Chris, I've just seen your comment, and I can speak to you offline, Chris.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know PSG's about a super potent attack. They definitely like to get in behind.
So the latest in the news, right? Just to say to you, the latest in the news are saying that we're interested in a Brighton player. And people have named three of them. So different people have put down three different players in different tweets, right? They're saying Yakuba Minte, who's a wide player that they bought from Newcastle last season. They're talking about Karu Mitoma and Carlos Baleba.
I'd love to have Mitoma. I'm not sure how old he's getting to be, but great player.
Yeah. So
Archer in the chat saying Baleba.
Yeah, Baleba. There's three different players. Different people have said that have said three different names that we're after. We're looking at Brighton. It should be interesting because Brighton, but mind you, Brighton have just sold two of their players. And yeah, three hours ago, you've got Palmeiras are interested in signing Richarlison from Tottenham this summer and are willing to pay the £55 million asking price. The Brazilian club are believed to be flush with cash due to the World Club Cup prize money. And they do what they normally do with AI. They've got Richarlison in a Palmeiras kit already with a Palmeiras background. Without a here we go.
That amount of money is insane. 55 million for.
Are we saying that we got to get him for tapping up?
No, they can tap him up all day. If they're going to pay 55 million for him,
yeah,
tap him up. I don't mind. That's an insane amount of money. Never. I really don't believe that. I think even if they had the money, I don't know. You wouldn't think that would make the most sense. That's probably not the best way to spend your money. And I mean, obviously, you've got to find a player that's willing to go. I know that plays a role, or that factors into it. The player's got to want to go.
Yeah, you've got Tottenham are very interested in a Brighton player currently. Unclear who it is. And then you've got a picture. Someone's put a picture of Baleba in there. Then you've got someone saying Caro Mitoma is pushing to join Tottenham Football Club. And then I can't remember, I saw the Yakuba Minte one, but Yakuba Minte was there as well. And someone's taken the piss. Someone's put down Spurs official, signed, sealed, MGW. And all 3 pictures are of Dominic Solanke.
Jesus. That's good. Good stuff.
They look like each other, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So
That's funny.
Pictured Dom Solanke 3 times and said, yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White as
He's already there. He's already training. Jesus.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Have you got anything else?
Well, real quick, I wanted to read. No, that's pretty much everything. Let me check my banners here, but that was really all. I was going to ask, yeah, nothing else. We've hit it all really. Of course, make sure to sub to Eltal Cockerel. Great Spurs content there.
And to Talk and Ball, who's back. He's back.
Yeah,
he's
back,
got
baby.
His channel. He's got his channel name back and everything. So Colin can be found. Don't have to start hunting for these other channels that he no longer comes under. He comes under Talk and Ball again.
The classic.
Which I didn't realise till I looked today. When I looked today, I found it. So I can see that you're Talk and Ball, and you're not what you were before. So you're fully back as Talk and Ball now.
Oh yeah, back and beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, that was really everything I had, to be totally honest. I wanted to read some of these comments. Daniel says that, what you were saying, PSG are not going to have to take a mandatory 3-week rest period. Only begin training 9 days before the final. We'll have already been training. We're training now. So that's a good thing. That definitely bodes well for us, I think. What else? Was there anything else really cool in there? Rodney says, if you're good enough, you're young enough. To my thing about Matoma and age. I love it. Good stuff there. We need attacking mid, defensive mid, left back, and Robinson. Robinson would be a great choice of left back. I've seen a lot of people talking about that. What else? PSG getting to the final was one of the best things that could have happened for Tottenham. Rodney says, remember when we brought in Scotty Parker? He wasn't too old. Good stuff. I'm a big Scotty P fan. Can you tell what Daniel's meaning here? PSG getting to the final was one of the best things that could have happened for Tottenham.
Yeah, because they got to take that break.
Okay.
They have to take that break, is what I was saying. They have to take that break. Now, the other thing I'll say is that watching the Chelsea match, so I watched the final. I watched quite a bit of the Club World Cup, and I enjoyed it. Some others said, they didn't. Yeah, the crowds weren't there as what was expected, but I enjoyed the football that was played, and it was good to see football for me, on a personal level. It was good to see football from other continents rather than just watching the European stuff that we watch all the time. I quite enjoyed watching South American teams playing in it,
Yeah. The Brazilians.
Different. You had Mexicans, you had North American teams play, South American teams play. It was good to see, Asian teams play. It was good to see everyone play. Also, I was interested in watching Al Hilal play because obviously they brought a lot of ex-Premiership players in the team. When I say a lot, I think they only played 4 of them in their first 11. But it was good to see all these teams play. So I enjoyed the football, but the final itself, it just shows what coaching and what tactics can do, because you got the tactics Chelsea employed on PSG was to over dominate them and overload them on PSG's left, Chelsea's right. So what they did is they targeted Vitinha when Vitinha drops in to make the third left centre off, and then Hakimi and Mendes bomb on. Every time that happened, they attacked down the right-hand side to attack the left-hand side of PSG, and that's how their goals came about. So it just shows good tactics and good coaching got Chelsea that victory. Obviously, you can coach and you can put the tactics in, but then you've got to apply these to the game. So now that Chelsea have done that to PSG, people will look upon that, and it's either for PSG to rectify that and for Luis Enrique to come up with something different on the way they set up and play. But on the day, Chelsea have obviously looked at them, and you can see that PSG can be got at, because in that first half, it could have been more than 3-0 to Chelsea, much more than 3-0. They had chances, and it could have been a lot more than 3-0. So for me, it's opened the door. It's shown other teams how to play against them. PSG have got one of the hardest things to do next season, and that is PSG are defending a quadruple. So they're defending the league title, the French League Cup, they're equivalent to the FA Cup, the Coupe de France, and they've also got to defend the Champions League. So they're defending a quadruple. It's not as if they've done a treble and they're going for a quadruple. They're defending a quadruple. So for them, yeah, they've got pretty big shoes to fill in against next season. How many teams go out there and win the Champions League? And there's only one team that regularly does that, and that's Real Madrid. They regularly won it consecutively on consecutive seasons. I know Bayern have done it back in the 70s. I know Ajax did it back in the 70s as well, or whatever. But apart from that, there's not many teams that keep that win it and retain their title, and that's what PSG have got to do. So the onus is going to be on PSG. It's going to be really hard because everyone will be gunning for PSG, and the first people that get a crack at it in a new season, because this is considered. I don't know whether this is considered as part of last season or as part of this season, because it's the crossover was the 30th of June. But the people that get the first crack at them is the Super Cup, and it'll be Tottenham. So we can measure ourselves and see where we are. Although I will say that game would probably still be considered pre-season for both clubs, and the fun really starts when we kick off against Burnley, because that's our first league game, and that will be the bread and butter for next season.
Boom! You guys heard it here. No, I agree with you, Jose. Well, guys, it is getting very late. Jose's got to work in the morning, and it is rapidly approaching morning. So I think we are going to wrap it up. I don't have anything else to you, my friend.
No, I just wanted to thank everyone that's stayed with us and locked in to see us tonight. It's been a pleasure to have you all watching. And across both platforms, we need to say thank you to Chris Peters.
Yes, Chris Peters, thank you so much, my friend.
Super chat. Thank you very much to Big John for flexing his 5-month member badge. For David Shear flexing his 11-month member badge. And also to Chris Peters, who became a channel member of both Talk and Ball and of Cockerel. So thank you very much. You guys are the ones that sponsored our shows tonight. So thank you. And thank you very much for all the comments that you guys have all made, and that. And you banter between each other, which is good to see. And you all seem to get on in a kind of weird way. It's kind of weird, absolutely. But it all works and it all fixes itself. So thank you very much, everyone.
We've got a good group of people. It gets a little, like you said, there's some. It's just a good place to be. No one's mean. Everybody gets along. I think we've got maybe we're one or two bad apples. Before we've gotten everybody out. It's just a good, happy group of people, and I'm really glad that everybody was here. Really appreciate all you guys. Without you, this wouldn't be any fun. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all.
I'm considering I'm just considering that I might do a show towards the end of the week, but I might do a member show again at the weekend, because after that I will definitely be probably away for a couple of weeks. So some stuff's going on in the background, so I might have to step away for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to try and get in a couple of shows before I depart and shoot off for a couple of weeks.
Well, let me know if you'd like me to join you. If it's a time I can, I'd love to be there, man.
I will do.
Awesome, blossom. Well, guys, I'm going to play us out with the Talking Ball intro, because we got the Cockerel intro already. Not the long one, not the one that'll get me in trouble. But all right, guys,
because it'll get me in trouble as well.
Yeah, no, it's not that one. No worries. But guys, it's been great seeing everybody, and we will see you next time.
Come on, you Spurs.
Up the Spurs.